Welcome back to Coffee Talk. Grab your coffee
Yes.
or tea or whatever you drink and join us for our talk today.
I'm Keith. This is Terry. And today we're going to be talking about what are some of the biggest fears in retirement. And there are many.
There are many. And I think the number one fear of in retirement is, am I going to run out of money?
Money, money, money.
Because, money makes the world go round, or that's what they say. But money's one of those necessary evils.
Yes.
You have to have money to pay your bills and all like that. So that is, I think, one of the biggest fears is, am I going to run out of money before I run out of life?
Mm-hmm.
So that is one of the main concerns.
And probably to me anyway, or for us, the number two issue or biggest fears was, healthcare cost. How much are we going to pay each month in healthcare?
And healthcare is craziness.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what you have to pay for supplement, because we have Medicare, but you have to have a supplement, you have to have a drug plan, you have to have all this stuff, and it's costly. It is. And then you think, okay, am I going to have a major health crisis, which maybe the Medicare doesn't cover, and I have to throw out a big chunk of money?
Yes.
I mean, there's just a lot of
Unknowns.
fear, that comes with that, because you don't know what your health is going to be down the road. You don't know if you're going to have a major health issue that's going to be very costly. I think another big fear in retirement is your loss of identity.
Yes.
You have done your job for X amount of years, and now, like, nobody asks you what you need to do today, or ask your advice, or what do I need to do here or there. And you might think, like, well, nobody asked me anything anymore. I'm not important.
Self-esteem goes down.
Yeah, especially if you had a real high profile job and you had people who worked underneath you, and you were also saying, okay, today you need to do this, and they would come to you with questions, and all of a sudden, nobody's asking you anything. That can really be a loss of your identity. If your identity was in what you did for a living, then it can really be a hard blow when you
very
retire.
Depressing.
Another big fear of retirement is that social isolation, and we've talked about this many times. When you retire, you're isolated for the most part, because you don't have to get out and do a 9-to-5 job every day. And so if you're not out in the community doing things and seeing people, it can be very lonely. It can be very depressing. And I've known some people who retired and then said, this is not for me. I'm going to go out and get me a job, because they missed that. They didn't have a spouse or significant other to do things with. So it's like, I'm just going to work.
They needed that.
So everybody's life is different. Everybody's needs are different. And everybody's fears are different as well.
And then another fear that you may have, or anybody could have really at any time, is the market. How's the market going to be going? Or
it could crash tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you lose all your retirement savings. That's a definite big fear.
The market is definitely an unknown.
It's so volatile, and you don't know from one day to the next. I mean, you cannot fixate on that, or you would you would have a nervous breakdown.
When we first started putting money into our, into the stock market at work and everything, I remember at first I was like every day would check and see, how's it going? How's it going? You'd be so thrilled one day, and then down in the dumps for 2 or 3 days in a row. When it went down, I said, no more. I'm not going to check, maybe every 6 months, something like that.
You just got to put it in there and leave it.
Yes.
Because if you are fixated on, oh my gosh, the market's here, the market's there, you're going to drive yourself crazy.
And I was doing that. It's depressing at times.
That's a big fear, that everything that you have saved could be wiped out if the market takes a tumble. And you never know these days. Another fear about retirement is that maybe you could fall for some kind of scam and make a poor financial decision, and lose everything that you have saved. And there are people, oh my gosh, you hear stories all the time that they get scammed and they lose everything they
Yep.
have. And so I think for a lot of people that's a fear
Yep.
of retirement.
Yes, we're getting phone calls, weekly saying, we know there's a new investment and all you have to do is, send $1,000 to get initially invested. And, we guarantee you'll be making money, money, money. And some of them's not even $1,000. Some of them's $10,000 or $20,000. And these scams, people fall for it. Especially the elderly, like we are.
And they target elderly
Mm-hmm.
people. They do. And if anybody ever asks for a gift card, that's a scam. Don't do it. But there are people who have lost their fortune of what they saved, and they've lost their home to scammers. And so we have to be hyper vigilant as seniors, which I hate to refer myself as a senior. But we are. You just have to be hyper vigilant.
Have those red flags up.
Yes, because people look at us and they target us because of our age, and they think, oh, they're going to be gullible. They're going to give me what I ask. And you just have to be hyper vigilant. Another fear that people have in retirement is they worry about their declining health.
Yes.
And that's why we have always encouraged people, retire as soon as you can, because none of us know how long our good health is going to be. And when your health declines, you are so limited of what you can do. And that's another thing we can't fixate on, because you could get really depressed.
Yeah, we've seen people who retired, had all these big plans, and then they have maybe a surgery or two, and it takes away their mobility, and they can't do the things they wanted to. Or we've had people that was planning retirement, whatever, and then all of a sudden something comes up in their family or something. They got to stay home. They can't do the traveling. I mean, if you start thinking about these things, man, it's depressing, because you don't know when your health is going to go down. And when it goes down, it seems like it goes down really fast and is long term.
Right. So it's just another one of those unknowns that we face in retirement. I think a thing that none of us want to do, none of us want to be a burden to our family. And so I think that's why we need to have certain services in place and stuff to help. But we have to think about long-term care if it should come to that. Because like I said, none of us want to be a burden to our family. It's just, it's so sad. My dad, I had dementia before he passed away, and he would probably still be living if he hadn't got COVID, but he just couldn't overcome COVID. But he had to have full-time care, and he was not a burden to us. We didn't look at it like that. He took care of us for years and years and did things for us. We felt like it was our turn to help him. And my mom was his main caregiver, and she would never say that he was a burden, because they were married for almost 70 years. So I think people look at things differently. But as a person who might have to have care, we don't want to put that burden on our loved ones.
And he would always, when he would fall, and they would have to call us and say, can you come help, dad up? And he was, I'm sorry, whatever. And just took a minute or two to get him back up into his chair or whatever. But he was, you could tell he felt so bad that here he was, used to be a big, strong man, and to ask someone to help, he fell and couldn't get up, and needed someone to help him, and he felt so bad.
He knew enough to know that he didn't want to depend on his family for that, and he felt bad about it. But we were glad to help any way we could. And so that is something to think about. It's a fear, because none of us want to put that kind of burden on our families. Another thing that you might worry about in retirement is you want enough money left to leave an inheritance for your children. And there are people that actually don't spend their money and live like paupers.
Yes.
Because they want to have that money for their kids or their grandkids, so they don't spend anything.
Yeah.
So we want to enjoy the retired life as best we can. And sure, we'd like to leave an inheritance for our kids, but we can't not enjoy the life that we've planned for. We've got to go ahead and enjoy the phase where we are. Everybody wants their kids, wants their grandkids to have a better life.
Yes.
Everybody wants that. But you have to realize this is your life. You worked your entire adult life to get to this place in life, to get to this phase.
Yeah.
So use this time as a time to enjoy life.
Yes.
That's why we share our travels, the things that we do, because you don't have to go out and spend a lot of money to enjoy life.
Yeah.
We just go around local places, mostly museums. We recently got to be a background extra in a movie. That was a cool experience.
Yes, it was.
So some things won't cost you anything, but it's sharing that time. We wanted to share our travels so that our grandkids could look back someday and go, that was my Granny Pammy that did that. But you don't have to spend a fortune to go out and enjoy life. It's all about attitude. You've got to enjoy the place where you are. I know a lot of people, when we first retired, I think kind of wanted to make us feel guilty that we were out there doing things, enjoying life. But it's like, hey, we're here because we put in a lot of years, a lot of sacrifice. There's a lot of things that we both went through on our jobs that nobody knows about except the two of us and God. He knows what we went through. And so here we are at this phase in life, and we're going to enjoy every minute of it. Thanks for joining us today, guys. If there's something you would like for us to talk about in a coffee talk, let us know in the comments. We'll see you next time on Retired and Loving It. If you'd like to see more of our videos, click the video that just popped up on your screen.